Hey guys, hope you're having a great weekend. So, we have a tweet here from actually back on May 4th, 2023. However, it seems like this flew under the radar because I did not see this myself, and as you can see, everyone is kind of talking about this right now. Tweets from an hour ago, some from like 15 hours ago, 10 hours ago. It's just now getting seen, so thought it would be interesting to talk about this clip. And to do that, well, I suppose I should play the clip. So, this is the infamous localizer known as Katrina. You might have heard of her name before. Regardless, even if you haven't, let's just play the clip and see what's going on here. And she'll be talking about, from the perspective of her as a localizer, things that she changes from the original Japanese intellectual property to Western markets.
For example, like with game localization, you're usually doing it, there's going to be an English dub. None of the Japanese source material is going to be available to the player. So you can get a lot more creative with it. You can, adjust the cultural interpretations as you need to. At some cases, you can even contact the developer and be like, hey, I want to change this little visual aspect so it works better with our culture. So you have a little bit more control over what the player is going to experience as a localizer. However, when you're working with video content, especially animated content, with animation, you could do so many fantastical things. Like you can have crazy stuff popping in and out. You can have like almost like a music video as quality where there's like abstract things happening in the background, or they zoom in on an object that really shouldn't exist. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with animation, but it's on screen and you can't change that. So when it comes to stuff like cultural references, there's nothing much that I can do to change that.
So let's talk about what she had to say there. Specifically, I would like to bring up her quote where she said, you can get a lot more creative with it. You can adjust the cultural interpretations as you need to. And this was in reference to changing the material, of course. And also, this other part where she said, I want to change this little visual aspect so it works better with our culture. So you have a little bit more control over what the player is going to experience as a localizer. As I said on Twitter in response to that clip, why does she think her own personal viewpoints represent the culture of everyone else? Isn't that very egotistical? Furthermore, people consume Japanese media because it's different than a lot of the stuff that we can get here in the West. So just because it's like Japanese doesn't mean it needs to be changed. Like, I think someone could argue that's a pretty bigoted thing for her to do. A while back, a localizer changed a gay character into a trans character, which completely butchered the entire manga because the gay relationship was integral to the story itself, and this was so bad that the rights holders found out, got involved, and demanded that it get adjusted back, and the whole thing reprinted. Katrina then publicly posted that she supported the corrupt localizer, even against what the rights holders were literally saying. Far too often, localizers ruin properties, and then they're so arrogant that they actually claim to be improving it. Closing with some comments in response to the clip of Katrina that we watched a moment ago. Hylian Railgun says, yes, that's Katrina openly admitting to wanting to completely change the source material instead of leaving it in and getting the West to learn more about Japanese culture and to understand Japanese culture. Do you now understand why nobody feels sorry for localizers like her for, and it goes on to say in the next tweet, getting replaced by AI? Similarly, we have Matthias saying, and they complain when people ask for AI translations. Jackson says, I'm really glad that these people openly admit that they're just racist against Japan and Japanese culture. Kazumi saying, imagine bragging about removing or wanting to remove the Japanese identity from Japanese media. Frickin' ludicrous. These people shouldn't be localizing something if they hate the source material so much. And Vince says, people like this should be nowhere near Japanese games or anime, because they obviously hate Japanese culture. Alright, well, I'm gonna leave it there, but I hope you enjoyed this segment, and let me know what you think about it in the comments. And if you did enjoy this segment, please also consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it greatly, and have a great rest of your weekend. I'll see you in the next one.